I am Joshua Lisec, the entrepreneur's wordsmith, and I am here with Bushra from the Persuasion Revolution.
Oh my God, Bushra! Thank you so much, Joshua, for having me. I am so excited to be talking to you. We have so many things to be excited about, but right now I'm excited that I get to shine a light on your genius, and this is really exciting for me. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Would you like to tell our viewers a little bit about the book and the awesomeness that it is?
So the book, the book is called Mass Persuasion Method. It came out on 25th of June, which is like exactly 1 month ago from when we're recording this. And the last 1 month has been unbelievable. The book is #1 in multiple categories, multiple countries, even in countries where they don't even speak English. And I'm like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? But all of a sudden, in 1 month, I'm an international best-selling author, and I have no idea how that happened. So yeah, we have someone wrote to me and said that he has never seen a book on persuasion with so many reviews and so many positive reviews and so many people raving about it. I heard someone email me and said that he never buys anything that Amazon recommends. So Amazon sent recommendations to him, and my book was one of those recommended. And he was like, I was really skeptical when I bought the book, and I bought it, and now I'm like a complete convert in 60 seconds. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. So unbelievable amount of love I have. I can't even believe the kind of results that I've got. The book has been downloaded about 15,000 times. And I'm like, people spend their entire years writing books and they never get this kind of recognition. I'm extremely blessed and extremely honored to be in a position where, come on, 15,000 people have actually read the book. It's unbelievable to me.
That is really exciting. That is really exciting. So, this is obviously your business owner, founder of the Persuasion Revolution. So you have several courses that you have, several programs, a membership site. So why write a book? I mean, let's rewind a little bit. Why was writing a book like the most natural next step for your business? Because you were already doing, very well with all of the courses. So why write a book?
So I think one of the reasons was that I didn't really feel like a real expert, kind of like that feeling like when you dress a child like Superman, the child is not really Superman. He's just pretending to be Superman. So I think that's one of the things that I had, because I grew so quickly and I made so much money and I got a lot of fans. But somehow in my head, I wasn't really an expert, because here I was talking about psychology, whereas I have no degrees in psychology. I'm a bloody accountant. I literally have no markers of authority that make me an expert. So the only thing that comes to mind is a book, right? And I have a lot of these courses that are based on frameworks that are very easily templatized. It is very easy to templatize them. So it was easy to make a book, right? So that was kind of one of the reasons that I wanted to do a book, because I wanted to be known as a real expert. And also because I felt that a lot of that content can actually be converted into a book, at least from the strategy perspective. So that's why I started thinking about it.
Gotcha. So you're talking about essentially establishing your credibility, maybe reaching more people with your message. So let me ask you, you're sitting in a position, maybe kind of an aspiring author. So what doors does a book open for you and for your business that another course or another guest post on a blog, another podcast interview doesn't necessarily open?
So honestly, it's been a month, and in 1 month, I read someone said that sometime, someplace, and I don't remember who said that, but it was very interesting. It's like when your first relationship with another person is that of a buyer, the whole dynamic of the relationship changes, right? So when I do a guest post, or when someone gets on my email list through a Facebook ad, my first relationship with them is that of a subscriber. But when someone buys my book, my first relationship with them is that of a buyer. And that sets the tone for the entire relationship. So a lot of people, what they did was they bought my book off Amazon. They'd never heard of me. They bought my book off Amazon. So now they have already invested money into me. And then they found the links to my membership site, to my site. They got on it. Someone said to me, I found the book, and then I bought again from you within 60 minutes. So found the book, browsed the book, loved the book, went to the website, bought my membership program, And now I know that she will continue to buy from me, right? So that the fact that your first relationship is that of a buyer, I think it changes everything.
Wow. So it sounds like you're kind of hacking the customer life cycle. You're from, everybody's all about, you got to get subscribers. Well, of course, your whole approach is, I want buyers as soon as possible. So you're essentially skipping the first step that a lot of people spend hundreds of hours on, getting subscribers, and you're able to go to revenue right from the start.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting, because I've always been all about creating a list of buyers, but I never thought of tackling it this way. But another kind of psychology dimension to this whole thing that I noticed now with my own book was that people who are on Amazon, they're already in a buying mindset. Right? Yeah. When you are on Amazon, you already know your credit card is already quivering in your wallet. It's already shaking in your wallet, right? So you're already in a buying state. Whereas when you're browsing internet or you're browsing Facebook, you're not necessarily in a buying mindset. So one thing that I did not anticipate was that when your book is on Amazon, people are already in a buying mindset. So you are literally grabbing a buyer off Amazon and bringing them into your business. And based on past record with my business, everyone who buys from me one program, they end up buying more. A buyer is the easiest person to sell to as compared to a subscriber or a fan. So that is really interesting to me, this whole dynamic. And that is why within this year, within 2017, my super ambitious plan is to do 3 more books, because I had not anticipated how effective it's going to be. And another angle, which you probably would be interested in terms of the numbers. So even though it may not seem like a big number, considering that, we do so much money, we make so much money in launches. But the fact that I wrote this book, the book is out there. Just yesterday and the day before, 2 days, I sold about 200 copies per day, right? So that's about, the book is on Kindle, it's about $2.99. So that's about $400. Now, even though $400 per day is not a lot of money, but come on, you just did a book. The book is out there. I'm not spending any money on advertising. I'm not promoting it to my list. I'm not doing anything. And I'm still selling 200 copies a day. That it's a nice little chunk of cash if you think about it in a month's time, right? So that's also an interesting benefit. So let's just say you make 400, and then in 30 days, that's a good month. That's a really good month with one book. And if you have, let's just say 3 books, that's like 3 times. That's like 30,000, around 30,000, which is, come on, a lot of money for anyone.
Yeah, that is super, super exciting. So you're reaping the rewards of authordom now. So let's kind of go back to that place of you're wanting to get this book out there. It's kind of this outline. You've got some content kind of pulling from your grab bag of wisdom that you have inside your business. And so our journey together kind of started where you had posted in the group, hey, I want to get this book out there. I want to get it finished. I want to get it all ready to go. But you're a business owner. You don't necessarily have every morning, every evening, every weekend that you can spend, hour after hour, honing it and crafting it. So in your mind, what are you really looking to do by, working with someone through this process?
So that's such an interesting question, because I didn't even know what I was looking for. I had no idea what I was looking for. When I went into that group and into my group and I asked this question, it was a very jumbled question. It was a very confused question, because the question was, I have a roughly pieced together draft on my random thoughts and something, and I need an editor, because I didn't know what an editor does, right? I have no idea. I've never written a book. I'm a book consumer, but I've never in my life written a book, right? So I have no idea how it works. Now, I posted in the group, I was like, I need to get this book out, but the way it is right now, I can't get it out. I don't feel comfortable getting it out, because even though it has all of those jumbled pieces and everything, I need someone to kind of shape it up and make it nice. So I thought I was looking for an editor. So I posted this, and then Jo, she was like, oh my God, you need Joshua. That's who you need. You just need Joshua. Now, on that thread, I had at least 50 other recommendations from people. Now, my first reason was I have this standard rule that if possible, I always prefer working with my people, right? So I'll be very honest. The reason I said, okay, let's look at Joshua was because you're my people and I know your work ethic and I know you're great. But that was the reason. But the reason that I decided to hire you eventually was not because you're my people. It's because you're a bloody genius. So what happened was we started interacting and you said, you know what, you don't just need an editor. You need someone who can kind of massage it into some, I remember those words you said, who can massage it into something that is not only enjoyable, readable, but also preserves your voice, right? You don't want something that does not sound like you. Thank you so much, Joshua. That's my biggest concern. That's my biggest concern with giving this book to anyone, because I have a very distinct voice and I don't want it to turn it into a typical business book. So we started talking and you said, you know what, Bushra, let's do this one thing. Let me take one chapter and do it for you. And then you tell me how you feel. So you took one chapter, you edited it out, you made it all pretty, you made it all nice and enjoyable and actionable and fun. And when you sent it back, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. Tell me, name your price, human, I am all over it. And honestly, the reason that I started interacting with you was because I knew you. But the reason I ended up working with you is because you are a genius. And if it were not for you, I'm being absolutely honest. If not for you, my book would have still been a draft on my folder, on my computer, because it had all the right words. It had everything. It had the framework. It had the strategy. It had everything that I had in my brain, but it wasn't as cohesive or as, how would I put it, as book-like as I would want it to be. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for allowing me to ship it out, because I would not have been able to do it on my own.
I'm so excited to hear that, Bushra, and thank you. And obviously, you're very welcome for the process that we went through. And yeah, I realized that when an author who, like you had mentioned, hadn't written a book before, you're thinking, I don't want somebody editing out my voice. I don't want to give them 2 paragraphs and they create 2 pages and it's nothing like what I would say. I want somebody to know my voice and run with it, right? And that's, like you said, that's kind of what happened. Started with that one chapter, and I remember showing just like wow, this is awesome. The response that you gave me back, like, yes, we're absolutely doing the rest of this. So that was really exciting. So now let me ask you, it was probably just a few weeks from the start of us talking to the finish line. So can you tell me what was the most enjoyable for you part of this process? Obviously, you get to have your book massaged, to the point where it's ready to go. But you don't necessarily have to sit in front of your screen with bloodshot eyes for 6 hours a day, to get it done. So you can have your cake too.
Yes, and I think one of the most enjoyable things for me was to be able to see. So again, all of those frameworks and systems and webinars that I did and things that I said in webinars that I didn't even remember I had said those things. It is really funny because there were things that I mentioned in a webinar. There were lines and phrases and strategies that I said, and they were never captured anywhere. And then I saw them in the book, and I'm like, oh my God, when did I become so smart? That sounds so smart. And I realized that I had said it in one of those webinars. I don't even remember. I probably was answering one of those questions. But to be able to see all of that genius really that's trapped inside your head, to be able to see it in print and to be able to kind of witness it and see how it all comes together, I think that was really enjoyable for me. And honestly, to be quite frank, if I were to do it on my own, I would probably just skip over those things. A lot of those things that were there, I'd probably just skip over them. I would just probably think, oh, who would want to know that? But from an outsider perspective, maybe when you included them, it really added so much more depth to the whole text. I think that was very exciting for me. So like I said, you took a draft that was badly patched together. It had all the elements. But it was badly put together in the sense that I'm a book consumer. I'm not a book writer, so I don't know how to put it in a way where kind of break it down into chapters, kind of break it down into actionable chunks. That part, I don't think it's just editing. I think it's so much more than that. I think it's kind of packaging your genius in a way that is enjoyable and consumable and actionable, because that's one of the biggest positive reviews that I got about the book. It is so actionable. Like, you can read it and then you can implement it within the next 2 hours. It is so easily actionable. And that's really exciting for me to see.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, Bushra. Now, let's fast forward now. So the book is done. You've got it in your hands. You're going through the publishing process. And now, like you said, it's bestseller in all these different countries. So you mentioned that you're having, instead of going to subscribers, having subscribers kind of haunt your list, for a while. Now they're just becoming buyers immediately, and they're becoming repeat buyers again. So what else does having this book finished and out there, how does it change kind of the trajectory of your business, and what do you even see right now for the future of the persuasion revolution?
So I think in a lot of ways it has changed my strategy for 2017, and that might come across as weird, but it is going to change it has already changed my direction for 2017. So as an example, I did a live event in Madrid 2 weeks ago. Now, if this was before the book, I would have just gone, I would have done the event, and I would have taken pictures. It would have been awesome, and we would have moved on. But now, when I went to Madrid, I had the whole session recorded. I will have the whole session transcribed. I'm going to turn it into a book because I have the framework ready. I have the structure. I have the testimonials. People were blown away by all the results, and I am going to turn it into a book. So now I've started thinking in terms of a book every time I think of creating something new. And that was not something I had anticipated. I honestly thought I will do one book, and then, I'll see when I want to do another book. I have a fiction book. I have a fiction book in my head, but I never thought I'd be doing so many more books. But right now, I'm already planning the next 3 books. So that whole shift of perspective, I was not expecting it, but it's happening.
Awesome. That sounds like a return on investment that you're like, oh my goodness, I need to invest, more resources just getting books out there because of the results.
It does. In terms of money and in terms of impact. So even in terms of money, for example, it's nice to have something out there that is on the biggest marketplace on earth. So the biggest marketplace on earth is Amazon. If you have 4 products out there on that biggest marketplace on earth, you're good, right? We think about funnels and courses and programs and all of that complicated stuff. But if you just have 3 or 4 books out there, that's a whole entire revenue stream in and of itself. Now, I'm not saying I will continue to sell 200 books a day, but maybe I will. Maybe I will continue to sell 200 books a day for the next 6 months, right? That makes for a good, nice chunk of cash. Why not?
Absolutely. Yeah. It just makes sense as a business decision. So let me ask you, so for other entrepreneurs, online entrepreneurs, brick and mortar entrepreneurs, they want to exponentially expand their influence. They want to, outreach, to new audiences. Obviously having a book is a huge advantage, like what you're saying. So why would you recommend working with someone like me, the entrepreneur's wordsmith, whether you have a 5-page outline and you're like, how is this going to become a 200-page book? Or they have a 50-page manuscript or a 100-page manuscript, wherever they're at in the journey towards authordom as an entrepreneur, kind of an authorpreneur, I guess you could say. Why does it make sense to have someone introduce someone like myself to the author equation there?
So, oh my God, so many reasons. But I would just say that I think you have a very, you have a gift. I think you have a gift to kind of, so many different things. I think what stops someone, so let's just take a step back and say what stops someone from launching a book. That was me last year. What stops a person from launching a book is you don't have the time. You don't know how book works. You don't know how to publish it. You don't know how to get it out there. You don't have the time. And honestly, you would rather spend time making money than to create a $2 asset, right? That's what entrepreneurs think. I would rather sell a course for $500 than to write a book for $2, right? That's what they think. Now, first of all, I have to tell you that the impact of that $500 course and the impact of that $2 book is completely different. The book instantly gives you credibility. I cannot divulge details, but I've been talking to a few super exciting opportunities that would not have been possible if I did not have the book out there, right? So definitely, no question, the impact and authority status that comes with the book versus the one that comes with the course, no match. But what stops you from writing a book, every single excuse that you have for not writing a book, I think Joshua can take care of it. I'm positive Joshua can take care of it. Every single excuse, and I'm telling you my excuses. It's not, it's a jumbled up mess. I don't know how the book would, I don't know how the book should look like. I don't know how to structure it. I want it to sound like me, but I also I don't want to give it to someone who will turn it into something else. I want it to reflect me, and I want it to, another thing that I have to tell you that was a concern in my head was, Mass Persuasion Method is a $500 course. I don't want to give people everything in a book so they never buy my course, right? If that's your concern, you can talk to Joshua, and like in our case, we talked and we said, okay, what the book will do is it will give the strategy, and the actual steps, the actual tactical details can be given in a course. So every single excuse that you have for not writing a book, for not getting it out there, Joshua can take care of it. If it were not for Joshua, and I'm not being paid to pay this, in fact, I'm going to pay him more. I want to keep paying him more. So I'm not being paid to say this, but every single excuse that you have, he will take care of it. If it were not for him, I would not have been here. And honestly, I went looking for an editor in that Facebook post, and I'm so glad I did not choose an editor. I'm so glad that I chose you. There were people who inboxed me and they said that they have been doing editing work for 20 years. I'm so glad that I decided not to go with just an editor, and I decided to go with you, because what you did was just unbelievable. You took my book, which to me, I would not want to put my name on it because it had so many of those missing elements, and you just made it into something that's beautiful and genius.
Well, I am so excited and grateful to hear that. Yeah, we got some more work ahead of us to do. Multiply all of the joys you've reaped so far from this experience. Well, Bushra, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share with me and talk kind of about what the experience has been. And yeah, I say let's move on to the next one, right?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, Joshua, for talking to me.
Absolutely. You have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks, Bushra.